But today what I'm talking about is one of the things that I just for some reason just couldn't get my head around, which was installing my puck lights and my dimmer switches for them. And I can actually thank Akela from Linnea from Linnea and Akela for this one. She's actually got a really good description. I'm going to imitate a little bit and also bringing in my design know-how in that respect. So starting with what's called a reflected ceiling plan. What is that? It's just the plan reflected upwards. It's not reversed or anything. It's literally the plan reflected upwards. And then I'm going to go through how to do this installation, which is the puck lights and the dimmers, because I have lots of lighting. It's one thing I'm very excited about. When it's done, I'm going to have a huge opening and burst into tears for sure, because I've got two different segments of lighting on the ceiling. I've got undermounted lightings underneath my upper cabinets. I'm going to have recessed in the toe kick LED lights and recessed LED lights at the very top of the ceiling, and it's going to create beautiful effects inside the space, especially at night. So what we have here is, this is the front of the cab. I'm in America, so this is the driver's side, this is the passenger side, this is the sliding door, okay, and that's that barrier. This is my high cabinet, okay, where my power is at the bottom of. This is my fan, this is the skylight, this is the upper cabinets, and this is what is called a reflected ceiling plan, right? Now, what I've drawn in already is the puck lights, okay? So this is, sorry, it's windy. So this is the puck light positions. I've got two sections that I want to have two dimmers on. The back section, just 1, 2, 3, 4 around the skylight, and the front section that will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so this is how it works. Now, first thing to know about installing puck lights is you must install them in parallel and not in series. What is series? It's the old Christmas tree lights, right? And you know what happened when one of those bulbs went out? They all went out. We don't want that to happen. If one of them fails, we want the current to be circulating so that all the other lights work, and then we can just pluck that one out and replace it, which is also going to be part of this installation. So we have power bank here, dimmer, and these two sections. So what I'll just show you, let's just do one of the sections, okay? So these lights will be dimmed here, these lights will be dimmed here. So let's just do this one thing, right? So let's just go through this. So I've got black and red Sharpies. We've got a positive and negative cable, and this is as red as I could find. All right, so we got the power bank, and then we've got power coming from the power bank, which will actually be the fuse box, to the dimmer, right? Right, so that's what happens there. And then from the dimmer, we'll actually have power coming from the dimmer to the first puck light, and then from that to the second puck light, and from that to the third and the fourth, and then the fifth, okay? Whoops, let me turn that around there, right? And that'll end the parallel series for that section, right? Okay. Now from each one of these lights, we've obviously got a positive lead, okay? Positive lead, positive lead, positive lead, positive lead. And then we have a negative, negative, to the negative, to the negative, to the negative, to the negative, right? Hope that's clear. And then what we have at each one of these junctures, these little junctures here, I'm just going to do a little squizzle, is a three-way connector or a way to connect three ways. Each one of these is a three-way connector. Don't worry about the dimmer, I'll show you that later. Okay, so we have to have this in parallel. We're going to have three-way connections so that the current is flowing in the system. Okay, and so what that means in parallel effectively is we've got power coming from here, to the dimmer. Let's say we've turned it on. Power flows down the cable, okay, or flows down the cable. It can flow into this light, or if that's bung for some reason, it continues to flow into this light, etc., etc. So it will flow through the system. Yep, this is why you install these in parallel. Okay, and then I'm just going to show you, actually, this is what stumped me, honestly, is how to actually do these three-way connections. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, so this is the stuff we need to install these little puck lights that have these 22 AWG positive and negative wires to 14 AWG wire circuit. Okay, so there's lots of little pieces here. So what we have is, I just like to use these shrink pieces to go over once things are done. We've got this little kit, and I will put links in the description box, because I am using these pieces. You'll see 22 to 16 on that, and these are the female side. Okay, these are going to go on the 22 org edge. Then we have these cool three-way connectors. I think when they are big time for these. These are seriously strong ass things, and the things I was using before, these just break and they weren't working, so let's ignore that. Then what else we have? More of these are the shrink pieces. We've got electrical tape. We have pigtails, positive and negative pigtails. We have, this is going to simulate what I'm going to show you here. We have some serious, I never remember what things are called when I'm doing the videos. Clamp, grip, vice grip, it'll come later. Scissors, we have a heat gun or a hairdryer. We have a little wire stripper and clamp down. This I will show you again. The flathead screwdriver finds its way into my project, and that's what we're working with here. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is those white insulated wires you see up there. This is going to be, what I'm going to have to do is separate them. Strip them down and separate them to do this. I'm just using one that I used before because I don't want to waste a good one of these three-way connectors, but it will be effective for the demonstration. And let's just start with the red pigtail, and then basically this is 14 AWG wire, so we're going to strip that, you know, just with a, you know, 1/2 inch end on it. I love these are so simple, these ones, and they're perfect. Okay, simple 1/2 inch pigtail. And at the end, I'm going to use the other end too. We need to do both. And then we're going to put that again through the 14 number on here. Just the third one down. Just about 1/2 inch. Stripping that back. Super simple. Yep. So the first thing we'll do then is we're going to grab one of these. Now effectively this is the quick disconnect. And these are from 2 different kits, but effectively you just got to get these things connecting, right? And so as it happens, that fits well in there. See how it disconnects there perfectly? So this side's going to go on the 22 AWG. This side will go on this pigtail here. Okay, so let's just do that first. And so we're going to simply put that in the back, pop it in. And you'll see it come through here, and you don't want it to go too far into the paddle, but you do as far as it can. And then this being a 22, we're gonna, I apologize. Well, this will just be cramped down here with this front piece. Nice hard grip. If you want to actually crimp, this is the crimper. You want to crimp the wire, and there's a metal thing that's basically a circular piece that's crimping down onto the wire here. Okay, that's what we're doing there. That's already pretty strong. I personally like to put these sleeves on. You could actually just use electrical tape to do this, but I don't know, I think it looks kind of pretty. And this is done like this. So again, we use the heat gun just to secure that in. So that's all we need to do with the, whoops, it's hot, with the, what I'm calling the pigtail here, okay? So we've got that one ready to go. So, next thing we do is we want to connect this one to, we're just going to do the red here for the demonstration. Okay, we're going to do, this is the 22, let's see, written on that, it says, it says 16 to 22, okay? So we're going to get the red side of the 22 here, the back of our puck light, pop that in the back of here. Sort of, I like to just spin it into position, so you're kind of screwing the wire into position. And then you'll often see it kind of come through. You can see I can actually push it all the way through. And you don't want it to go that far. You kind of want it, hold it in position so it's really hitting the wire here, the metal. Okay, but we don't want it all the way through, or it may interrupt the actual disconnect. And then we grab the crimper again for the size that it says. Here it's 22, so it's that top one. And then, whoops, the wrong one. And we crimp it down, okay? Let's get it in position and nice strong grip. Sometimes I do it twice. Oops, we don't want to break the actual head of it. Nice strong, here we go. Yep. Again, that's already quite strong. And now we're going to use our heat gun again to melt that into position. Advertisement for Ryobi. Now this is actually a battery operated heat gun. They don't last that long because you've got to pull a lot of battery power to create heat. But sometimes I'm in a place where I can't get an extension cord to. So it's cool for that reason. So at the moment I'm using that. Okay, so that's done. And then just to, you know, it's sort of glued down, but I like to wrap electrical tape around this to make sure it's really in position, okay? All right, so they're set up to go together. Okay, so the next thing is connecting. We've got to get this three-way connect to connect those two wires, which as happen in continuity and contiguity with each other, and then this other piece. So what this does, and this is how I do it too, I do it forward, okay? So this, you'll see, has like a length here that this presses into, and you want to press it in really strongly in that side and that side. And this is where this comes in, because when it's new, you want to really shove that in position, right? Shove it way back there. Now, whilst you're doing this, especially in situ, like in position, don't press on this because it's actually going to obstruct. Sorry, this is a reuse one. It's going to obstruct the wire. You don't want that to be so. And then this is super cool. I just like to turn it first, right? Another hole, which is the third piece. And you'll see that go all the way through, okay? Right? Very, very cool, huh? All the way through there. And then the next thing you're going to do in position is you're going to use your pliers. That's what they're called. That's ridiculous. And you're going to clamp down super hard on this. Now, I'm going to just right now take this piece out because I want to use the pigtail. So just pretend the pigtail's there. The rest of it's just for the example. You clamp down hard on this, okay? And this is actually going to pierce the wires, the front and that pigtail, okay? The pigtail will be in there. And then all you're doing is you're going to close this up. Now you're going to close that up first. Clamp that down in that direction. And then you can see the top needs to come over, and then we're going to clamp that down in position. Bam! Okay. Now it's got all this gel in there. Now, as if that was all done, this would be in place. So you've got, this is all the positive wires basically talking to each other, and then you've got the pigtail here. Okay? And then you're going to see that sit like that, And then we come in with our puck light in position, okay? See that? And then we're simply, super simply, gonna plug the disconnect in. Okay, I'm gonna show you up here. Plug that in up here. See that? Bam, that's in. Okay, so we've basically got, what have we got here? We've got the pigtail in place, we've got the three-way in line. See that? And then we've got the red one done. And we're gonna repeat that whole process for this little black wire. Very cool, huh? And these are seriously strong. These are these 3M Scotch Lock product. I think I got it at Home Depot, but I'm going to put a link for you for those. And then, as I showed you before, you'll see, as you can see, my lights are on. Okay. Now on this first one, which is where it started, it's a different connection system because it's the end. And as this is in line, right? So there's our light on, and there's all those pieces together, okay? So behind here, you can see the 3-ways. Now the pigtail's tucked up here, but then there's the quick disconnect. There's your, so that's all 14 gauge. At the back, the pigtail is 14 AWG. And then this is the 22, right? And then I'm just basically tucking it away in position for when all this, I routed this out beforehand so that this will all sit tidily back there when I put a face on here. Yeah, there'll be a face that covers this up. So that I will just then start to replicate across here. Okay. Now of course I've got this marine wire. I have to strip it first, which arguably I should have used just one piece of wire, but it makes it insulated. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that now for all the rest of the undermounted puck lights, and it will be exactly the same process for the ceiling ones. Okay, exactly the same. Okay, so I hope you can see this. I'm going to show you that same thing here in situ. So we have our puck light, right? We have these. So that's creating the quick disconnect, which we're going to do here. So I'm just going to feed this up through and then put the puck light in place. 3-way connector, smack in the middle of that bit that I've stripped back. And you don't strip it or do anything, you just push it into this piece. Now it's tight, and this is sometimes where I'm going to use a good old flathead screwdriver, because I want to make sure that it gets pushed in really tight, because you want the clamp to clamp down on it. Okay, and just be careful while you're playing around with this, you don't push this down whilst you're doing all this. Then we've got our pigtail. Remember, I've prepped all these. I've already got the disconnect bit done. I did all that last night. And then we're finding our other hole. Now right at the back here, there's a 3rd hole. Now you don't strip this either, and that's different than what I just showed you. Okay, so let's pop that in that 3rd hole. You push it in as far as you can. Hopefully we're all the way to the other side. There we go. Push it in way to the other side, which it has done. Now these particular connectors come with this petroleum gel. I'm not exactly sure what that's for. I'm sure someone below can put a comment as to why that is so. And they're in. Okay, so now all the wires are in place. All I have to do right now is get my pliers and push down on the silver connector. That's the real connector in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to grab that, and you're going to clamp down hard. And I don't know if you can see it, that it clamps down into the wire. Yep, all of the wires clamping down hard. Okay, we want it to pierce through the outer coating and get through to the wire. There we go. Do as many times as that gets really flat here. And you know, when you're doing it in the spot here, it's a lot more awkward. Properly. You can feel it usually. It sinks in. It's like its teeth sink in. So there it is. It's in. Perfectly straight. And they're all clamped in super tight, right? Now then you're going to clip this back in position. You can either do it with your hand or just with my hand situation. I'm going to need to use the pliers. Let's do that one first. Sideways. Okay, once that's back, we can do the top. Okay, and we're basically super securing all this in place. And your pliers are going to be your best friend here. Yep. Yeah. Clamping it down, you don't want that to open up. You want this to be permanently closed. And that is. And we have it. Three-way connector, pigtail, that eventually is just going to plug into here. Okay? And then, super simple, red to red. We're gonna, oops, find the positioning for this quick disconnect, pop it in, connect it. Okay, same for the other side, black to black. Okay, connected into the paddle. Make sure they're nice and tight. Okay, we're all connected. Look at that. Yeah? Fantastic. And then what I'm going to do equally is I'm going to tuck this pigtail back up in here so that that can go in place, and then obviously I'll have a front panel on here that this will all hide behind. But look at that. That is all done, and I'm about to test it by turning on the power. Oh, killer. Woohoo! It's always very exciting when things work, especially when you're a novice. It's like magic. Okay, look at that. We have a puck light on. And that is our tidy little quick disconnect layout. And here we have it. I'm going to finish the rest of them now. And the moment of truth, I'm going to test it by turning on the power. There should be 6 under-mounted lights. Come on. Ready? Oh, look at that. Very exciting. 4 on this side, 2 on this side. That's fantastic. And all the fittings in place before I put the back panel on. And now we're gonna thread up the ceiling puck lights. Okay, so I've actually just done exactly the same thing around all the 10 ceiling puck lights. I just want to show you that. So what we have here is, you'll see all those lines in the ceiling hanging out, right? So I've already shown you before, this line here, okay, goes up in and behind this tall cabinet, down to the dimmer, which will be there, and comes back out here down into the battery bank. Okay, yes, that's a battery blanket. You probably never heard of that. Well, it's my way to keep them a little warm in winter. Probably not technical, but here we go. All right, and then it comes back up here. And then basically, as you can see here, I've done exactly the same thing as I did for the under-mount cabinets, okay, for these high cabinets that I showed you before. Yep, it's the 3-way, which is the line for the negative, the line for the positive, 3-way connector, pigtail for both the positive and negative, and the quick disconnect. The reason why I'm doing quick disconnects for this, for all of these, is when this ends up back under here, up here, and then there'll be a hole here. If there's anything wrong with the light, I can actually test it by just pulling the light down and then checking and disconnecting it and checking it with another light to see if it's the light switch is the issue, right? And then this is the end. The end one is different because it's the end of the line. It's just one quick disconnect. It's not a 3-way, okay? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug in all the lights because I want to check that everything works before I start putting a ceiling in. Okay, so I'm so glad I did that. It might have felt like a bit like overkill that I'm testing every one of these, and then I'm going to take them out again. But they're all working, right? Except for one, okay? All right, so this is either a faulty light or a faulty connection, and I'm about to test another light here to know that. All the others are working, the end one works, and I'm just going to see what the problem is with this one. So I just want to show you, this is a really good example of two things. First, this is why we wire these in parallel. So I've taken all the other lights out, and that could be a short in one of them, for example, and yet these two ones at the end can be on. Really, really good example of why all this extra work to wire them in parallel. Otherwise it'd be like Christmas lights, where if one light goes out, the whole thing goes out. Okay, so through a process of deduction, this little puppy that wasn't working, I could tell that the paddles of this were connected. I could see that. So I went, okay, well, it's got to be something up here. It's got to be at this point. And I just flipped a coin toss, decided to pull out the red one and then insert another red one to find that, ta-da, she came on, okay? And my second point was, I thought I was doing overkill to test all of these at the moment, but hence I was proved right to do that, okay? So all of my ceiling puck lights are working, and now I can take these out and store them until I actually install the ceiling, which is exciting. So I wanted to show you the puck lights installed. You're getting a bit of a preview of the van build being finished. But there's the under-mounted puck lights all on. You can also see the LEDs. It's exactly the same installation process, except you just glue them. You don't even glue them, you just peel and stick. So here we go, and then of course you can see all the lights in the ceiling. There's lots of them, there's 10. Lots and lots and lots. Here we go, puck light central. And of course all of those come back to here. Super simple. I love these because they're all on dimmers, so you can feel the lights on, off, or dim. Okay. Love that, love that. So yeah, this is a lot of puck lights right here.